Couple of things I'm going to cover today are, if I get to work this, there we go, our current state of economy, and it so far is being uneven, but we are slowly recovering. First half of 2013 was very slow, but in the second half of 2013 we just picked up like there's no ending. Really, we grew about 3.3% in second half, which was very significant after all the declines. The second thing I'll cover is good producing industries, and that covers construction and manufacturing. And for this sector, when you look at it, it's very volatile based on seasonal factors, also on consumer behaviors and consumer confidence. Service providing sectors, which encompasses a majority of Hanford industries and other 18 industries, which provide services to local communities other than producing goods. So this sector is actually, if we take out Hanford, is expanding and adding jobs, and this is where we saw that 3.3% growth in the second half of the year. But Hanford cluster overall is declining and, well, it's stabilizing towards the year, but over the past 3 years it's been in decline. And fourth, healthcare, education, financial services are stabilizing overall growth in Tri-Cities. Couple major topics: resident employment and unemployment, which is a little bit different than providing jobs locally, non-farm employment, which will be covered in details, and also population. As we know, population is a key developer for our economic growth and prosperity in many of the industries that I'll be covering. So waking you up with the local news is that happy news towards 2013 after decreases in 2012. For the local numbers, Franklin County is third highest unemployment rate in the state. I bet you didn't know that one. Benton County is 7.9%. Third highest is at 11.0%, coming after Grace Harbor at 11.6%, and Ferry County 11.5%. The reasons why we see Franklin County higher in unemployment rate is because of seasonal factors to resident labor force who do travel above and beyond the borders to find works in seasonal industries, and then during this winter times they come back home into Tri-Cities, hopefully spend money on retail trade and other services, but that's driving Franklin County unemployment rate. Couple other key factors to look at: not seasonal and adjusted rate for state of Washington is 6.5%. Major driver of unemployment rate statewide going down is King County. King County is at 4.7%. Some would call the ideal unemployment rate, right? But we are way above that. How far it will take us to get there, we'll see for the area. But not that many counties are below 5%. We do have Whitman County of 4.9%. So we're not too bad, just we are in the middle of the pack when you look at Tri-Cities, but there are extremes and on both ends when you look at that. I had two great lines going one way. One is going up and one's going down. It was a trend line of local unemployment rate. We were 2% higher in unemployment rate than the statewide, and it was a trend line. I wanted to show you how far we've gone in regards of people getting jobs. And actually to give you optimistic view that actually local labor force are seeing more confidence in labor market and they're finding jobs. But just picture those two lines, one going up for local, for the state going down, as state unemployment rate has been decreasing for past 4 years. The second point I wanted to make on this is that we had records on this year. This year was a record high and low for unemployment rate in Tri-Cities. In September, we reached 6.8% unemployment rate, which was the lowest in past 3 years. And also in January of this year, we were 11.2% unemployment rate, which was the highest in past 13 years. So we had 2 record highs this year in regards to unemployment. That means we had a lot of people unemployed early 2013, and a lot of them finding jobs by the end of 2013. Very positive outlook and picture for this year. But when we look at a statewide was lowest at 4.2% in 2007, and they are 6.5 right now, so it's not too far for them to go to reach the level. And of course, we are contributing to that. Non-farm employment. I would just summarize in overall, the best benefit for any given area is that you have great labor force and you have people coming into the labor force to find jobs. That means a lot of businesses will be able to find skillful and available workers that can do jobs if they're expanding and hiring. As we have seen in the second half of the 2013, majority of businesses statewide, we are very confident in posting their job orders and hiring rather than holding and sitting on those jobs and waiting what will happen next couple quarters. So there's more confidence in business side as well as consumer side in that regard. When you have more confidence in labor force, there's spending all around. They will spend that money, which will go into non-farm employment. Non-farm employment, when you look at it for Tri-Cities, a little bit different picture than you would see statewide in many statewide areas. Let's look at statewide. Statewide is presented in orange. You can see orange line. During recession of 2007 through 2008, statewide lost about 6.8% of total employment. It's about 73 months right now, and it recovered only 6.0%. So it has quite a bit more to go to gain that employment back. During the same time, Tri-Cities didn't lose much during recession. In fact, we gained about 11% of total employment in non-farm during a past recession in Tri-Cities. As soon as that ended, basically when stimulus funding for Hanford projects ended, in September of 2011, we decreased by 3.4%, going from September 11 high to April of 2012, lowest employment rate in Tri-Cities. For the next 14 months, we were basically stagnant for 14 months with small growth up or declines in employment. That means there is not much hiring activities in Tri-Cities for many businesses. We have over 22 industries. Not much change, right? In the past 5 months, we increased about 3,500 jobs. That's second half of 2013. All the backlog of job orders of businesses we're holding on just came on board in second half of the year and picked up, and people were able to find jobs and our economy started recovering. So that was very fast recovery for us. Basically 6 months after stagnation for 14 months. Very good news. On this slide, I wanted to show you percentages of Hanford employment towards the rest of non-farm employment. And this is non-farm employment. In blue line, you'll see Hanford employment peaks and downturns. And it coincides with the budget and money available to spend in Hanford. And then in orange line, you'll see the rest of non-farm employment in Tri-Cities, which encompasses about just 20 different industries. You can see that even during recession, our area did actually experience small recession in other industries, mainly construction and financial services. But post that, due to funding coming to Hanford from stimulus project, it helped stabilize our economy and gain jobs in all the other industries. You can see that clearly in the 2010 and 2011 area. But as soon as Hanford laid off, we can see Hanford going downhill. But look at the rest of the non-farm. Stable and expanding and adding jobs. Very good news, right? This is what we want to see overall, but how much effect does Hanford have? You've seen it on this other slide. Total trend behavior is driven by Hanford trend behavior, right? You can see that clearly, and we can't separate it. 15% of total non-farm employment was in Hanford cluster, and this is an estimate, of course, but that's 15% of total employment. In regards to wage range, it was about 34% of total wages belonging to Hanford payroll. That's a lot. Goods producing industries, as I mentioned, that I will cover, and that's covering construction, manufacturing. Yeah, orange line is state, and the blue is Tri-Cities. Looking at the orange line, state has not recovered lost jobs in construction yet. Manufacturing was fairly stable. If you take out construction and separate it from manufacturing for statewide, you'll see rapid growth in that, and mainly driven by aerospace. But for us, you can see there's a lot of volatility in construction and manufacturing as well, but manufacturing is a stabilizing factor with growth of 2.5% a year for past 5 years. And construction was negative 2.5. It had peaks and it has had lows throughout this, and there are a couple attributing factors to construction volatility, and that was investment of stimulus funds in Hanford, which has driven our employment up during 2010-11, and a lot of investors from other areas of the United States saw the positive picture of Tri-Cities, came in to invest in local real estate, and it was going really, really good, as you can see on the first peak right there, and all up to September 2011. As you know, from my story right now, you'll see that it's Hanford layoffs that triggered a little bit of the pullback in construction, because everybody a little bit stalled, and a lot was happening for about half a year in construction as they realized that people are actually not moving from Tri-Cities, they're staying. Construction picked up, and there's more real estate, both commercial and residential, in this regard going up. So overall, manufacturing is very stable, growing at 2.5% a year, but there's more volatility construction because of consumer confidence and internal factors of consumer investment as well. On the second line, I have service providing industries, and this is a major employer, employing sector. Service providing industries in the area have 1.5% average annual growth for past 5 years. That's even with all of these layoffs from Hanford. 1.5%. When I take out Hanford layoffs it's about 2.5 to 3.5% growth. So really not too bad, but again, you can see how much that is affected by Hanford cluster. But a couple of things that I want to mention here. Trade, transportation, utilities, and warehousing expanded by 1.5%, and that's related to agriculture. Agriculture and food processing. We have financial sector increased by 2.5% a year for past 5 years. Education and healthcare increasing by 3.1% a year for past 5 years. At the moment, the only unstable sector in services was Hanford cluster. agriculture also is another major sector, providing about 10% of total employment locally. But in order to see trend in agriculture, we have to look at a long picture. From 2002 to 2013, we can see an upward trend. This is statewide and not locally. But statewide increased from 2003 to 2013 by 26.5% to be exact. For agriculture is a major employer statewide as well locally, but for the local area there's more expansion in agriculture with 32%. That's 10 years of continuous growth in agricultural activities. In regards of total employment, 13-year average annual growth for Tri-Cities was 2.2%. Even with recession, all that state came out at 0.7%. I wanted to point out two pictures here. 2013 numbers are estimates based on non-farm and agricultural estimates, and we are expecting to be up about 1% in locally, but the statewide should be about 2.1%. Yes, over the year. But 2012 was a very tough year for overall total employment in Tri-Cities with 1.4% loss, mainly due to Hanford layoffs, but state was increasing by 1.8%. So even after this increase, we are doing fairly well overall in the area. To look at wages, biggest downside for us was the decrease in wages of 3.0% in 2012. Even though we lost 1.4% in employment, we lost double that in regards to wages. State gained about 3.4% in regards of total wages. Average wage was $44,814. for 2012. Fastest growing population in the state. This is something to look at. From 1970 to 2012, the United States grew by 54%, but Tri-Cities grew by 187%. That's 2.5% growth. Where is that growth coming from? We have two counties in the area. We have Benton and Franklin, and the growth is coming from mainly Franklin County. It started around 2006, and since 2000 census through 2010 census, Franklin County grew by 58%. It is the 5th fastest growing county in the nation, and there's over 3,900 counties nationwide. Very significant. Franklin County has an average growth rate of 4.9% a year, while Benton County is 2.3%. U.S. average is 0.8%, and Washington average is 1.3%. So you can see significant growth of this. Also, who's coming here? There are different population groups. Franklin County is the youngest county in the state with 28.4 years of age on average, and you can see that right there. Majority of the people are on the left-hand side or right-hand side, and then comparison to Benton County, 36.2%. Also, population growth, 28% growth in Hispanic population from 2000 to 2010. And Hispanic population represents 50% of, let's say 60% of total population in Franklin County. Statewide and Benton County is about 11, and Benton is 19. So you can see big difference in those population groups. Recovery. Looking at the future, are we actually recovered? And I did this for local recessionary periods because we do lag after actual statewide national recessions. First line you will see is 2005 and 6 recession in green, and recovered within 15 to 16 months. A lot of people didn't even notice that we had local recession. Second recession is the most recent recession, 2011, 2013. It took us about 20 months to recover that employment we lost from Hanford. And the largest recession we ever experienced, it was 1995 to 1997, when we lost about 6,000 people overnight. So we didn't do too bad this time in recovery. We did recover much faster than the state, because state is still taking time to recover all those jobs lost during its recession time. Growth is uneven and slow, and we are not expecting more than 1.7% growth for Tri-Cities for next couple of years. But if anything happens with economic development, that might accelerate. We have seen even faster, 5.7 and so forth. Replacement need for a lot of companies, retirement will be needed. A lot of people are going further, and as Mr. Wharton has mentioned, baby boomers are retiring and other services are in demand rather than employment for that specific group. Industries that will be leading growth, we do have healthcare. And we have healthcare 2.8% growth a year for next 5 years. Education 4.9% for next 5 years. Financial services, one of the very stable and growing industries in local area, is at 2.6%. Manufacturing, excluding food manufacturing, will be growing at 4.0%. I'm excluding food manufacturing because of its vitality and difference in associated to agricultural activities. Agricultural projections depends, and we've seen this is early spring to me. Winter is over. I don't know if we're going to get snow, but overall we are looking much better and looking for better future 2014 than we had in past 2 years. Thank you so much, and if you have questions, I probably ran that 5 extra minutes over, but